We move on now to other issues on our line-up on the program today. Security. From Niger to Kaduna to Kebbi states, the spotlight on kidnapping has shifted to Sokoto. About 60 passengers traveling from Sokoto to Kano have been abducted by bandits while traveling in Sokoto State Transport Authority buses along the Sokoto-Gusau highway. And while the transport agency stated that they are still compiling the manifest of passengers to know the exact number of those in the vehicles, one of the motorists who narrowly escaped the abduction, Mohammed Yusuf, says the bandits blocked the road and kidnapped all the passengers in the 3 buses. Sam Ibemere, what do you make of this? Once again, this is yet another case, but the number surely stands out. 60 passengers reportedly abducted, and there's even been some form of confirmation from the GM of the Sokoto State Transport Agency, Yahuza Chika, is confirmed to have said one of the vehicles in that fleet in the company was also involved in the attack.
And that's a development. You know, he talked about 60. We have had records of double that, you know, in the case of students who have been abducted across most parts of the northwest and north central Nigeria. It's very sad, and like I've always said here, you know, it just makes us some kind of a laughing stock before the rest of the world. Abductions, if you like, kidnapping, have become a very terrible industry. You know, guys are making a living out of it. So once they have an opportunity, they just go out there, pick, you know, fellow citizens and ask for ransom. It's a very dangerous trend, and it's compounded by the fact that these guys are getting more daring by the day, including the very recent example of even taking down, you know, a military aircraft that had gone after them. Is a very sad development. And so when I heard the governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, speak about, you know, a concerted effort on the part of governors in northern Nigeria, you know, to take on this issue once and for all, it gave me some hope, and I want to believe that that strategy, you know, would work, because when he spoke about shutting down, you know, schools in Kaduna State, you know, in particular, for the sole purpose of, you know, taking on the bandits or the kidnappers, you know, once and for all, it made me feel that probably they have some sort of joker up their sleeves. We would like to see how that card is played, you know, in the coming weeks. But this is a huge embarrassment, not just to the government of Sokoto State, but to the entire country. Before the rest of the world, I'm sure we have become a very, you know, a laughingstock. You could say that this is not anywhere close to what is probably happening elsewhere, but all the signals are there. You know, increasingly anarchy is taking over the entire country, and these are short steps towards a failed state. You might not want to describe the country as a failed state, but if you look at, you know, specific states in northern Nigeria, they won't be too far, you know, from being described as failed states, especially in states where more than half of the local governments in the entire state, you know, under the control of bandits, including extracting, you know, taxes from citizens before they can go to the farm or before they can earn a living. Kaduna is one. Even the government itself painted that terrible scenario. In Niger State, the same thing. More than half of the local governments in these 2 states that I've talked about are under the control of bandits. How else do you describe, you know, a failed state? It's very disturbing. And what is even much more disturbing is the fact that we seem to have, you know, a laid-back, you know, approach to it. We hope that the coming of the Tucanos and other, you know, equipment that we want to put in the care of our military will do some job. But we need strategy. We need concerted efforts to deal with this, you know, national embarrassment.
BK, this must surely be frustrating, but how do you react to Sam's position on this?
Yes, the bandits are becoming creative. They vary their tactics. We seem to think that they are dumb people, that they don't have a plan. But we have seen that They take their time, they plan, they monitor the movement of troops, and where you constantly bombard them in an area, they leave that area and face somewhere else. For some time now, we've not been reading the kind of stories that we used to read about the Kaduna-Abuja highway. Clearly, they've moved to other areas. They've moved to Zaria, Funtua Road. They've moved to Gusau, Funtua Road. They've moved now to Sokoto, Gusau Road. Many people who traveled for Salah in this area, in these areas, were kidnapped. A lot of those stories don't even get published in the papers. So these three routes, they have simply been harassing road travelers on those routes consistently in the last couple of months. And there is a need to focus on those areas and ensure that we put an end to the threat that this constitutes to travelers. You can imagine the distance between two states in the northwest, Sokoto and Zamfara. For many people, because there is no airport in Zamfara, for example, they would like to travel from Sokoto. Once they come down Sokoto, which used to be in the same state with Zamfara, in any case, they will now drive down to Gusau, the state capital. These people have now formed the habit of waiting for them on that road. We've been reading consistently, and they operate anytime. It's not like the Kaduna Road where people will tell you that don't travel until around 1 or so. Don't go too early. These ones will operate very early, they will operate late, they will operate at midday.
Not just when it's deserted.
Yes. So, and they operate close to forest. They don't operate very close to an urban center because they use motorbikes. They want to get away straight into the forest, and when they kidnap people, they move them straight into the forest. So there are locations that they have identified, including the former hometown of the late governor of Kaduna State, Balabe Musa, Kaya. They were operating along that corridor, kidnapping people and moving them into the forest. Lamba, Bakura, all of those areas, they kidnap people and moving them into the forest. And we know the bandit leaders who control these areas. We know where their camps are.
Okay, you mentioned Lamba Bakura.
Yes.
Sources also say that along that stretch of the road, there are at least 10 security points, there, and then we are still having this high spate of kidnapping and the
yes,
like.
because the forests around that area are extensive. The forests link different states. For example, it's possible from Zamfara to link Niger State Troop Forest. It's possible. All the way to Niger. You will move, when you get to Faskari, you then go to Sabwa, Sabwa to Brinengwari. Sabwa is a local government in Kaduna State. Sabwa to Brinengwari. From Brinengwari, you are in Niger, because Brinengwari is around the border with Niger State. You will now move into Niger, where the forests are even more extensive. Because we have some forest reserves in some of these areas that I've talked about. Dogon, Karfe, all of this. We have forest reserves in those areas where they can hide people. Dajin Rugu Forest, in the Jibia area, they can hide people. You won't even know that people are there. So I don't know how God blessed us with forests that are useful. But these bandits have turned these forests to places where they keep people, and they are so extensive. You can imagine we have forests stretching all the way from Nigeria to Central African Republic. How do you police all of those forests? It's a very big task. And these boys understand the entire area. They know how to move in those forests, link different states. I was talking about my cousin that was kidnapped in Ifejumu, not far from my village. And they made them trek for 9 days. From that area, from Kogi, they ended up from Kogi, they ended up in Akoko Edo, where ransom was eventually collected. And so,
through the same forest.
Through the forest. They took them, they made them work for 9 days. A woman made to work for 9 days. This is what we are facing. So what we are saying is, let there be concerted efforts to deal with this threat once and for all. We have no other means by which, in my view, we can deal with this problem except through military means. And if the governor of Kaduna is saying, look, we are conducting a military campaign against these people, so be it. Kaduna as a state, they are behind everyone in terms of the school calendar. Remember, since when schools have been shut in that state? They are behind everyone. So are we going to go on like this? I mean, surely something must give.
Absolutely.
I've said before that you must concentrate on those contiguous states, block the exit points, stop them from escaping. You know, if you are attacking them in Kebbi, for example, that's a new state that they've now discovered to decide to be harassing people. Stop them from moving into Zamfara state from Kebbi, because once they move, they will go and start harassing people in that state. You may nullify the threat here, but if you can't stop them from migrating to other places, then it's like you have wasted your ammunition.
Indeed. Of course, well, more needs to be done, as have been, established already, not just today, but long before now. Let's move on.